Hi, this is Sean Henricksen here at the Sean Henricksen Law Firm. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about how much probation costs. Before we get to that, I do have a free download for you. It's 4 things you should be doing right now if you've been charged with a crime. You can look down in the notes and you can click on the link and I'll email that right out to you. Probation is not cheap. And when you're put on probation, there are normally a lot of fines and fees that you have to pay. I'm going to try to break everything down a little bit. And so some of the stuff that I'm talking about, you may be ordered to do if you were put on probation. Some of it's not going to apply to you, but I'm going to discuss it a little bit anyway. The first thing that you're going to have to pay when you're on probation are fines and court costs. Depending on what you were charged with and depending on what sort of agreement you worked out, there's most likely going to be some sort of fine that you've got to pay as part of your probation. The way that they make you pay most fees on probation is they just make you pay the total amount by the time that your probation is over. And so typically probation will add up all of the fines, fees, costs, and everything else you have to pay directly to probation, and then just divide that by the months that you have to that you're on probation, so to make sure that you are paying everything on time. In addition to those fines and fees, which are set by the judge when you're sentenced, you also have to pay certain other fees directly to probation. These include a monthly fee to supervise you. Normally that's somewhere between $25 and $65 per month. If there's any sort of drug testing, you have to pay probation each time that you get drug tested. And there are certain other fees that you're going to pay not to probation, but to other vendors and other companies that, if you don't pay, will ultimately result in you violating the terms of your probation. Typically, these fees are going to be classes or some sort of monitoring programs. For example, if you're being charged with DWI, you're likely going to be ordered to take a DWI education program and a victim impact panel. Both of those are classes that aren't offered directly by probation, but they're offered by certain providers outside of probation that you will have to pay for. And you'll have to pay those providers to give you those classes. If you don't pay for the classes, then probation is going to revoke you since you didn't complete the classes. On an assault charge, on the other hand, you may be ordered to do a batter's intervention program, which is again a type of class or program that you have to pay for, and you don't pay probation directly for it, you pay that to whoever you're taking the class with. There are also monitoring programs that you may have to pay for. If this is an alcohol-related offense, then you may be ordered to be on either an ignition interlock, which is like a breathalyzer for your car, or a handheld machine to test you to make sure that you're not drinking alcohol, because one of the conditions of your probation may be that you can't consume any alcohol while you're on probation. You may also be ordered to be on some sort of GPS monitoring. And in that case, then you've got to pay for that GPS monitor each month also. The last thing that you may have to pay for is the community service hours. In some cases, a judge will allow you to buy out your community service hours. And so instead of actually having to perform community service, because it may interfere with your job or taking care of your children or something like that, the judge may allow you to make a donation to a certain nonprofit organization in exchange for actually doing community service. And so you may have that fee that you need to focus on also. Probation is not cheap. All of these fines, fees, and classes add up. I see a lot of people who are really focused on how much the attorney is going to cost when they're looking for an attorney. But ultimately, they could end up paying a lot more in the back end than they would have if they would have gotten a better attorney up front. Depending on the outcome of the case, it can be significantly more expensive to be on probation. If a case is dismissed, then you don't have to worry about paying any of these fees. There's obviously no guarantee that your case is going to get dismissed no matter who you hire. You do want to hire an attorney that you're confident is going to take the time to go over your case and do everything that they can to get the best result on your case. If you have any questions about probation or the costs associated with probation, or if you're being charged with a crime, please feel free to give me a call. My phone number is 210-942-4997.